All right, guys, can you hear me now? How about now? You got anything? I don't know sign language. Are we good? Good? Okay. Tried using a headset. Apparently wasn't working. How's everyone doing? What do you guys want to talk about? I do have a guest coming on, hopefully soon. If he comes, better. What do you guys want to talk about? Let me show who's here. We got Liverpool, Moo Juice Man, Rich B, Just a Hologram, Zeba Cake, RT's here. Must be a new brand of silencer. Works well. Castle Bravo. Eric's here. 18 Wheels, you're here. And our guest is here. So let's add him in. Hey, can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are we talking about tonight?
Apparently 7 PRC. I'm a little over it. Almost elk season. That's true. Here's one thing I really want to get the people involved. What bullet is Big Timber going to use for his elk hunt this year? Because you just got your tag, right?
Well, I don't know. It's a good question because you're doing some hand loads for me.
Yeah.
And right now, the hammers are shooting by far the tightest groups in that Seekins. But I'm not fully sold on monolithic coppers yet at long range, right? If I have to take a shot out to like 400, 450, I know the velocity's there, but I used monos in California when I was hunting wild boar. But I don't know. I've never been fully sold on them yet.
Okay.
I would prefer for a bonded bullet.
Okay. 18
Maybe
wheels. Have you ever loaded a 225 CX in your 340? I have not. What were you going to say, Big Timber?
I said maybe some of your viewers can help sway me towards, being okay shooting a mono bullet at around 3,100 feet per second.
You have a 26-inch barrel, 300 PRC, which I think that's the right length. You're going to get some good velocity. And so I loaded up a 200 grain AccuBond for you. And we loaded up a 180 grain. What is that bullet now?
The Ioxus?
Yeah.
Mead Ioxus. It's a bonded
Mead
bullet.
Bonded bullet. It's really high BC for 180 grain. It just hasn't shot as well as the other bullets. It's not bad. What are you were getting, like a 0.8 inch group, right?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, I think I got one that was like a 0.78, one that was like a 0.9, and one that was like a 1.1.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not bad. Not great.
No. Nope.
I personally would love if those AccuBonds shoot really well. I think that is a great bullet for your 300 PRC.
I would like to know, well, hopefully you'll get those bullets out to me here in the next week or so, and then I can test them.
The computer parts?
Yeah, the computer components. Yeah, I've even had people on my channel say they haven't had the ability to find large or magnum-sized primers lately. And I didn't even know I had people on my channel that watch my stuff that reload.
Here's a fellow Colorado, I don't know how you say it, but he's asking you a question.
Oh, Jason, sorry. Eating dinner. A protein tortilla wrap with peanut butter and honey. I did not draw. I'm doing OTC second rifle. So Colorado's weather has been so inconsistent for like first and second rifle for the past several seasons. I drew 2 seasons ago for first rifle, and where I was at, the elevation was between like 7,000 and 9,000 feet, and the average temperature was in the high 60s. And so the elk were on a much higher altitude because there hadn't been the first snow yet. It hadn't driven the elk down to lower elevation. So by the only day that I actually saw like legitimate signs was the very last day. But there was a fence, and on the north side of the property, or on the north side of the fence, was private. On the south side where I was public. And I ended up talking to a game warden when I was walking back to my truck. And he said that little spot is known to have elk, but they come out from the private side during the night and then nest or sleep right there in the public. And then early morning, they get up and then hop back over out of the private land.
All right, M. Woolsey, what cartridge would you pick for youth, elk and deer? I'm going to say 7mm 08 and 308 Winchester. If you got someone that's recoil sensitive, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. I think those two are good suggestions. Both of those are short action, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. It depends on how old is the youth. I would ask that question because I got a 30-06 when I was a teenager, and that was no muzzle brake, no threaded barrel, very lightweight rifle that I could handle it. My first deer I shot was a 270 when I was 10. I wouldn't suggest a 270 for an elk, but if you're close enough, maybe. But a 30-06, I think a 308 or a 30-06.
Yeah. Triple Beards is not a fan of mono bullets. He said he would take a partition over a mono bullet. M. Woolsey's giving monos a try this year. James, Midway's running a sale on Accubons 338s from 180 grain to 300. It's pretty cool. I love me the Accubon bullets.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Who makes the best primers, in your personal opinion?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I guess I like Federal, but I don't know.
Why are primers such a hot commodity versus powder, brass, or bullets?
I don't know. I mean, there's a couple wars, and I think factory ammo gets first dibs. I think the wars get the first dibs, and then factory ammo takes out a lot of it, and so us reloaders are left with the leftovers or whatever's left.
All right, so from a logistics standpoint, that makes sense if there's less suppliers of primers than there are for the other components. Is that correct?
Right. So, for example, like not every Hornady or even Nosler bullet is going to a war effort, right? So they can pump that stuff out because they're not giving it to military contracts. Okay. Soldiers aren't using the ELDX or the Accubon to go to war.
Yeah, they're using FMJs.
Yeah,
armor piercing FMJs.
Anyway, that's just my uneducated assumption. Have you read Nathan Foster's From Terminal Ballistics Research Take on Monolithic Bullets? I haven't.
What is it?
I don't know. Jason says that's the issue we had last year. Weather was against us.
Yeah, so Jason, I want to address that. So, I don't want to give away like my GMUs here in Colorado that I'm going to be hunting. I did some research on some GMUs that are near Grand Junction, and then one that's down in the mountains close to Aspen. And they're both OTC for second rifle. And the one that's in the mountains, if it's been a warm fall like it was a couple years back when I drew, then I'm going to be heading up towards the high mountains in that GMU because it'll be cooler up there, and hopefully the elk will be up in that area. If it's colder, if it's a colder fall, and we've already seen some of the first snow, second snow, third snow, I'm going to be heading up near Grand Junction, where it'll be a little bit warmer on the western plain, and hopefully the elk will be down in that area. So if you have good thoughts on that, I would love to hear what you have to say.
Accuracy says 270 is just fine on elk.
Which 270?
I think just a 270 Winchester.
Okay. Not a Wisdom?
Wisdom is better.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can't really beat good shot placement. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of our ancestors that were been hunting since like the 1930s, 20s in the United States were using a lot less technology, but just getting closer and taking better shots, if that makes sense. And it made,
yeah. There'll always be a debate on, well, is this cartridge enough, or is this one too overkill?
Right.
I will always lean towards added insurance. Hence, I shoot Weatherby's.
Right.
But I'm also not going to tell someone that's recoil sensitive, you need to go get yourself a 340 Weatherby to actually kill an elk. If you can't shoot it, then it's pretty worthless, right?
Right. If you have the flinch, if you have the fear of the flinch.
Yeah. I want to try the Swift Siroccos. I think they're another good bonded bullets. Very similar to the Mead bullets. Okay. Very similar.
30-inch barrel. That's nice.
Yeah. Hey, Montana Musings. How you doing?
Hey, Montana Musings. It's going. We just got started.
Yeah. Nice.
What would your thought be as for a 280 Ackley approved for a youth deer and elk rifle? Is that a little too much, you think?
No. It's very similar to a 30-06, probably a little less recoil than a 30-06 because it's 7mm. And arguably better ballistics than a 30-06. I think it's a very good choice.
Yeah. I think for my kids, that'll probably be what I get them for their elk rifle when they get old enough.
I think I originally was going to go with a 270 Winchester for my son. The gun sucks.
Yeah.
Kicks like a mule because it's super light. Even in 270, it really sucks to shoot. And since getting that 7WSM, that gun is just, maybe it's just a little bit heavier, or just how it manages recoil. It's just much more enjoyable to shoot, even though it's going faster. So I think I'm going to have my son shoot 7WSM for hunting.
Wow.
And it's just more enjoyable for him.
Moo Juice Man. Up in the Yukon, we have used the 270 to take about 10 moose, but the shots were all within 2. Yeah. So that's like when I lived in New Hampshire, which has very similar, I don't know, topography and flora that Alaska has in the coastal regions. Everybody used like a 30-30 or a 270 because you didn't need it to go out like further than 150 yards. It's going to typically be your max shot, but typically you're going to be shooting within 50 yards.
Yeah, you don't need a high-powered cartridge.
Yeah.
Any Nosler hate, current 2020 prices, etc. I mean, I'm a Nosler fanboy, but I'm not blind. Stuff is stupid expensive. It's way overpriced for what it is.
Trinity, I hate Nosler, so I don't hand
There
load
you go.
Nosler. I don't hand load yet. I haven't gotten into it. I'm working with Austin to walk me down that path. But every time that I've paid for Nosler factory ammo, whether it's for like a 30-06 or a 6.5 Creedmoor, it's always overpriced garbage, hot garbage. I cannot get factory Nosler to shoot out of any of my rifles, and I've shot it out of probably 4 different guns with multiple different types of Nosler ammo, and it's always the worst grouping. It's worse for me than Hornady Outfitter Copper.
Whew. That's rough.
Yeah.
So when I get back those 200 grain hand loads, you telling me they're probably going to group like 2 inches?
The partitions?
No, the AccuBonds.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard that Nosler hand loads do a lot better than Nosler factory ammo.
I think you'd say that about every hand load.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know.
I have one exception to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Weatherby ammo. They loaded up the 180 AccuBonds, but it's Weatherby making the ammo. And it was shooting 0.6 inch groups.
Not bad.
So I bought a ton of 180 AccuBonds to hand load. Could not even get close to what the factory ammo was doing. That's a first for me.
Wow. Wow.
I gave up on the 180s.
Wow. Was that in your 300?
Yeah. 7W7 was my daughter's first hunting rifle. Nice, Bill.
Nice. Can I ask you to your group something?
Yeah.
Do you think that the hype of the 6.5 Creedmoor as a hunting cartridge, like a do-all hunting cartridge, is coming to an end soon, and that we will start to see it just being used by like F1 shooters or F class, not F1?
Do you want my answer too?
Yeah, I want to hear what your group has to say of what you think, because I don't hear about it as much now. Like when I go to Shields or like my local shooting store, gun store, and I ask them, hey, what do you think's a good hunting rifle? Some of them still recommend the 6.5 Creedmoor, but I don't see it as often as a recommendation, at least not for Rocky Mountain elk.
So when I go to these big stores, whether it's Cabela's, Al's, or Shields, I still think the majority of rifles I see, at least out in display, sadly, are still 6.5 Creedmoor or 6.5 PRC.
I see a lot of 6.5 PRC, and I see a lot of 7 PRC out here. So I would say in Colorado, I'm seeing a lot more 6.5 PRC and 7 PRC.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just not sure. You guys message me below. Do you think the 6.5 Creedmoor as a hunting big game cartridge is dying down? Is that basically is your question, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Montana Musings.
Looks like Mark agrees with you.
Yeah, I agree, Mark.
I've had better luck with Norma factory ammo than Nosler. I've seen some incredible Norma ammo.
I shoot some of the Norma subsonic hollow point 22 long rifles out of my pistol and my rifle, and it groups pretty good. I would say it's usually sub MOA groupings.
Yeah, the Norma Bond Strike in 30-06 in my friend's Winchester XPR. He did a 3-shot group that was half MOA, and then he did a 5-shot group, and it was like 3/4 inch.
Really factory, huh?
Factory ammo, a 5-shot group at 3/4 inch is pretty good. I have not had any experience with the Nosler RDFs, but from the little YouTube content I've seen of people hand loading them, they seem a bit finicky and picky.
I want to ask your group too, after you sent me that video about the Seek and Slam, if anybody that follows you has any experience with the Seek and Slam, because the video that we saw did not warrant a $4,500 price tag.
And it is ugly. I'm sorry.
It is. It's ugly. It's like a rubber stock rifle mated with a chassis rifle, and they had the ugly baby.
Yes. Like the front end of the fore end of the rifle is your traditional, looks like a carbon fiber kind of fore end. And then the back of the rifle is a chassis gun that's foldable. It just looks ugly.
And they want $4,500 for it. And I've only seen one video of somebody shooting it, and then the video that guy couldn't even get $2,000 groups, or I would even say $1,000 group.
Yeah. Hey Link, how you doing? Just same old, same old. I still go to the range a lot. All right. Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I rarely buy factory ammo. Yeah, I didn't want to correct you, Big Timber, but no one in F class uses 6.5 Creedmoor.
What are they using? Like 6 arc?
No, they're all using 7mm.
Oh, they are? Okay.
And this is kind of the hot new cartridge that everyone uses. It's a 6.5 PRC case necked up to 7mm.
Huh. Interesting.
Oh yeah, 6.5 Creedmoor is extremely accurate. And you've found that. You have a 6.5 Creedmoor.
I do. We have 2. My wife has a 6.5 Creedmoor and a Tika T3X. Rough Tech Light.
John, Big Red Machine. Creedmoor's nice cartridge, way overhyped. Correct. Nice. I think the answer is everyone should buy Norma ammo. That's very nice. If you're paying that, you're going to get a Wooks or an MDT and build a great rifle. I know you're getting into like almost custom gun price
for $4,500. Yeah, you are. Yeah. Granted, it only weighs 5 pounds 4 ounces, but as we talked about, for some of the long action cartridges, that's a little too light.
Yeah. So a lot of them. So F class shooters are usually using a 7mm, and sometimes they're using a 300 WSM, which is pretty interesting. That's what he used to use, RT. He's now all about this 7 PRCW. That's the name of it. Hey, what's up? Nice. So Big Timber, what bullet do you what is your ideal elk bullet? I know we've kind of had this conversation. You're leaning away from mono bullets just because poor expansion. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. And also the ability for them to ricochet.
Okay.
Inside the body. I mean, according to the guy at Hammer, these won't do that because they fragment and then they still penetrate. I mean, we've talked about it before too. Ideally, if you shoot an animal, it's dead within a couple of steps, right? Like if it's dead within 5 steps. But
sorry, I was reading Jason's comment. Keep going.
But I think for me, I want something that has decent expansion, but good penetration. So it's going to go from one side of the animal and out the other.
Okay.
That way, the animal isn't going to be able to blood clot the entrance wound and then die from internal bleeding. I want a very viable blood trail coming out the exit wound.
So it's basically a bonded bullet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I would think so. Now, if it's like, I don't know. I mean, any opinions on the newest Weatherby? I have some. I bought one and turned it back in. Actually, I didn't
Which
turn it back
newest
in.
Weatherby? Which
Yeah,
newest new one?
that's a good question.
They're pumping out a lot of them lately.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Oh,
I have
wow.
not heard that about the 30-06 AI. That is very interesting. Because I get told all the time the 30-06. I know you're talking 30-06 AI, but just how outdated and no one uses 30-06 anymore. Anyway, looking for the 30TC. Do you know what the 30TC is? Big number?
The 30 Thompson centerfire?
The cartridge.
Oh, no.
It is the parent case to the 6.5 Creedmoor.
Oh, I thought the 6.5 Swede was.
No.
Oh, interesting.
Jason says to use Nosler ballistic tips. Jason is a big believer in the ballistic tips, but those are not bonded. They're kind of like a lower version of an ELDX.
Okay.
On the 307 action from Weatherby, I don't know. Do I have any experience with 6.5 RPM? Can't get it to shoot 1 MOA, as you've seen from. Hell knows I don't really have issues with accuracy. Gonna probably sell it for another Seekins. That's too bad. What rifle is it in? I've shot a 6.5 RPM once. I've never hand loaded for it.
What new action is he talking about? Is he talking about the Action Adventure ST?
Maybe. It seems smooth, but it's having some issues of late in some rifles, I think.
Yeah.
Barnes LRX is a budget-friendly option. Yes, it is. So you've had monos and AccuBonds both act like FMJs on thin skin game. You won't use any of them. Either of them. Sorry.
So Triple Beard, do you like the Cuppet cores?
No, I think he's Sirocco's, which are also.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Okay.
So TTSX is a mono bullet.
Okay. That's a Barnes.
Yeah.
That's the tipped TSX, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I tried those out in my 340, and they did not like it at all.
Right.
I might have to try them again because they're such a cheap bullet. They're like the only bullets you can get. They're like under $50 in a 338.
Yeah. Right.
Terminal scents are really cool. But they're stupid expensive if you try.
Aren't those the Federals? Like
yeah.
You can only get them preloaded. Right?
You can actually buy if you look carefully and are willing to spend a fortune to buy them. You can once in a while buy them and hand load them.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think my rifle would like it?
Maybe. My personal experience with the terminal ascent has not been the most accurate bullet, but I've heard from others that they're plenty accurate in other rifles. So, but I've only tried them in like 2 rifles. So,
okay. Interesting.
So the terminal ascent is a cool bullet. The front of the bullet is bonded. The back half of the bullet is pure copper. So it's a pretty darn tough bullet.
You remember the Winchester failsafe bullet? Mm-hmm. Actually, I think it was Nosler failsafe, but Winchester loaded it up into a failsafe round. It was like a nickel plated coated or nickel plated casing, and then it was a moly coated bullet that was black with a silver tip on it. And then it was, I think it was bonded, if I remember correctly, but they put a steel insert inside the lead core.
Hmm.
It didn't last long.
Yeah, that stinks, Elijah.
That really stinks.
127 LRX, nice. Oh, here's a fun question. If you have accuracy issues, is it more the barrel or the ammo? Great barrels will shoot everything good. I think most of the barrels that most people have are going to be picky.
Okay.
And
Well,
the
now when
same
you're talking
goes, you're going
about
to
when
have to
you
find the bullet that the barrel likes.
right now when you say a great barrel will shoot most anything good, you're talking about the actual materials of the barrel and also the chambering and the rifling, like
Like I'm
all
talking like custom barrels,
like tip to tail, like a Saturn barrel
a
or
Brux.
a Luja.
I'm thinking what the barrels that like F class and bench rest shoot and high end barrels. Brux is what comes to mind. There's a few other companies, and
Okay.
it's hard to shoot. Well, they just shoot so darn well. They
Yeah.
like most everything, but
Hey,
the vast
I've got
majority of factory rifles that everyone usually shoots, you're gonna have to find what it likes because
right.
it's not as high quality. Yeah. Okay, so this is what Triple Beards uses: Sirocco partitions, core locks, cup and cores, ballistic tips.
You don't really see the A-frames as often anymore.
It's tough to find any Swift bullet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nipple plated.
I have tried North Forks. I have not tried them on game, but I have
What,
some.
what about buffalo boar? Have you ever hunted anything with buffalo boar?
Mm-mm.
So when I'm in bear country and I'm camping, I'll typically get hard cast buffalo bore 44 magnums from my Smith and Wesson revolver, but I've never actually shot anything with it.
James, what's my opinion on the Akubon long range bullet? If your gun likes it, your gun shoots it really well. I personally think, my opinion, so take it for what it's worth, I think it's the best hunting bullet. But they are one picky son of a gun bullet. Like, they're just harder to get accurate than other bullets.
Do you think you get better performance with that bullet at a slower velocity than any of these other bullets we're talking about?
According to Nosler, they are. So most bullet companies will say 1,800, or you need minimum 1,800 feet per second for expansion. Nosler says for the Akubon long range, it's 1,300.
Wow. Damn.
I need to test that
Yeah,
because I'm sure there's some marketing
that's a
hype for
bold
it.
strategy, Cotton. Let's see how this works out.
The other thing I really want to test is that they claim there is no velocity limit, that the Akubon will always hold up. But I'm pretty sure I could tear apart an Akubon with my 257 Weatherby.
Yeah, if you shoot it fast enough, then. I mean, if it's that soft of a material.
So sorry. There's the Akubon long range, which is a softer bonded bullet, which is meant to expand at much lower velocities than the normal Akubon.
Okay.
But I want to really put to test Nosler's claim that you can have any velocity and it will always hold together. I'm not sure if I believe it.
You should get a 6.5 300.
I think I can do it with the 257 Weatherby because they make a
Yeah.
110 Akubon, and I can shoot
Yeah.
that 30, well over 3,500. Put like a water jug at 50 yards. That will really put it to the test. He's talking about just Nosler's ballistic tips. Yes, Winchester buys Nosler ballistic tips, and then puts a coating on them.
Oh, I see. I'll send you it right now.
I question the consistency of factory ammo all the time. I haven't. Wyatt's here. What's up, Wyatt?
Hey, buddy.
That's a good idea. I tried those spear impacts, 190 grain, in my 300 weathery, and loved it.
So so it says right here the Winchester failsafes were the Winchester versions of the Barnes X bullet. Nosler has reloading data in older manuals. Great bullet. Blah blah blah.
I don't think ABLR would hold up to a 3378 Weatherby, at least close range. That's a pretty soft bullet. Try the 125 grain AccuBond in a 300 Weatherby. That would really put it to the test. I could get those going north of 3,700 feet per second.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I don't think it would hold up, but it'd be fun to see if their claim of unlimited velocity.
So this is, all right, I'm going to hold this up to the camera.
Okay, what bullet is that?
That's the Winchester failsafe without the tip in it.
Okay.
So you could see, though, it has a lead core, but there's like a steel insert on the top part of the lead core, and then it's copper, and then they would put a little tip in there.
How's it going, Christian? Wyatt, I know you're biased towards archery now. I don't really care about archery. Sorry, guys. So I can confirm to you that's basically what it is. The spear impact and the Federal Fusion tipped are almost identical. Nice, Jacob.
Nice.
So, I actually haven't seen Federal Fusion.
Yeah, I haven't seen that on the shelves for a couple of years.
Sorry, the tipped Fusion. They just come out. I've never seen them.
Yeah, I haven't seen Federal Fusion on my shelves in a while, honestly. But then again, too, I'm not really looking for it.
Yeah. I think the new Spear Impact bullet is an underrated bullet.
Is Spear associated with CCI?
I don't know. Maybe.
I can't remember. So I know CCI has another brand of ammo. If I remember correctly.
Nice. Okay, so Wayne has seen some Federal Fusion tipped here in North Carolina.
Let me ask you this. Are you going to OTC this year for elk hunting?
Yes.
Or you're not drawing?
I did not draw.
Okay.
Already put in like months ago.
Okay.
So I have an over-the-counter spike tag.
Oh, okay.
Next year, I should get the unit that I want for a limited entry elk hunt.
Okay.
Where it's going to be like good sized bowls in a good area.
You going first rifle then?
I'm going to do second.
Okay.
But second is way different from Colorado's.
Yeah, Colorado hates rifle hunters.
Yeah.
Do I have any elk hunters here in Colorado? How bad does it suck being a rifle hunter here that our first rifle season is after the rut?
Yeah, that sucks. Our second rifle is at the very end of the rut.
So your third season would be like our first season then.
Yes. Well,
That's crazy.
maybe.
Because ours starts, I think, like the 18th of October, somewhere around there.
So all I know is like the second is you're hearing elk bugle. You might not be able to get them to call in, but they're still bugling.
No, yeah. Like for our first, the professional guides out here, they tell you like don't even bring a bugle. But you might want to bring like a calf in distress call. But they're like, you won't even hear a bugle. They won't respond to bugles. You don't hear bugles. If you hear a bugle out in the woods for first rifle or beyond, it's just some jackwagon trying to call an elk in that doesn't know that they're not going to respond.
Right. Wyatt confirms that Spear and CCI are sister companies.
There we go. Hey, I scored a point.
Accuracy. What are you putting in for the Pavant? 24 points, man. You should be able to draw out on almost anything.
That's crazy.
Other than maybe the Pavant and like the Henry Mountains. There might be another area that's like you have to have a ton of points. But you're up there with like some of the drawing out for the best areas in Utah.
Yeah. I wish we could hunt Estes Park. That's like isn't that like the largest elk herd in the nation is like right there at Estes Park?
Can you imagine all the liberals?
Oh, dude.
That would just flip out. Some guy brings their hunting rifle out and shoots one of the elk.
Well, there was a cop in Boulder that got arrested because somebody called the police and said, "Hey, there's this bull elk that's like hitting my car with his rack," because it was like the rut and the elk was, a little randy. And the cop responded to the call and shot the elk. Took a photo with the elk like it was a trophy, but then called like CPW and had them come and pick up the elk to, take it away and do whatever they did with it. It got out that the cop took a photo with the elk and the town had the police officer arrested for poaching.
Wow.
That's in the news. Boulder police officer arrested for shooting elk. That was years ago, though.
Vista Outdoors owns Federal, CCI, Spear. They're also, I think, sister companies with Alliant, Vista Outdoors. So that's for you 7 PRC owners, get Federal ammo because it's loaded up with Reloader 26.
Well, that's like Mead Industries that makes the Ioxus bullet. Their machines that actually manufacture the bullets themselves, the projectile, their machines are in probably the majority of people that make our ammunitions companies that actually make the projectiles for all those people. So,
okay. Are you going to tell me accuracy where you're putting in for? I can't remember what the best unit is. I don't think it's the Pavant anymore. Used to be. Vista owns Alliant, yes. The coveted Reloader 26. What people don't realize is N570 gets faster velocities.
N570 is what my rifle likes with those hammers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you might, everybody here's like a hand loader. Mead Industries, their machines that make bullets are the machines that make bullets for Hornady, Aguila, Remington, PB Precision, Centerfire, Ruag, Fiocchi, Rainier, Winchester, Predator, Cellar and Below, DRT, Gunworks, whatever that Montana, I don't know what that is. Extreme Bullets, Barnes, that's another big one, Barnes, Swift, and then whatever that Target is, all these, you would be surprised. Arms Corps, I use a lot of their stuff in my 9mm. CCI, a lot of the bullets that you shoot are actually coming from a Mead Industries machine. And Mead Industries started to sell their own preloaded ammunition.
So are you saying Mead makes the machines?
Yep.
And then these companies buy the machines and take them to their warehouse? Okay.
Yep. And they use the Mead machines to manufacture the projectiles. So you would think with Mead that if you bought bullets from them because they're making the machines that make the bullets, they would be cheaper. But we found buying that box of Ioxus, that was not the case. We paid more money for that than we should have.
With how they're shooting,
Yeah.
it's all right. If I ever get your computer components, I load it up with N570, so that might be the ticket.
So are they aware of what we're talking about with the computer components?
No, that's an inside joke, a dumb one. Okay. So maybe we shouldn't air it on YouTube.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, accuracy first is not saying what unit it is. Maybe you should email me what unit it is. I'm not going to draw out. I'm putting in for Manti. So. Have you tried the N570 in any of the PRC, in the 300 PRC? And it really likes it.
So first go with loading up Hammer 180s for my 300 PRC. He loaded it with 80 grains of powder, 81 grains of powder, and 82 grains with the N570. And without taking jump to lambs measurements or anything, him just guessing, with the 81 grains of powder, I got a 0.3L MOA. And what was the other? The other two were 0.4s. One was a 0.40 or a 0.41, and then the other one was like a 0.49, and then I got a 0.30.
Yeah, they're all sub half MOA.
Yeah.
Okay, Ritumbo and N570 are very similar, as in get you really close to the same velocities. Same with Reloader 26, and I really think it's dependent on the cartridge. To shoot N570, you need a pretty overbore cartridge or a really heavy bullet. Sometimes N570 is just not the ticket for some cartridges. I won't be shooting N570 in my Weatherby cartridges.
What is your opinion on what makes a more accurate rifle, a longer or shorter barrel?
Someone just commented saying the shorter barrels are going to have less vibration, which will help with accuracy. However, you don't see bench rest shooters or F-class shooters shooting 20-inch barrels ever.
Facts.
They're all shooting 28, 30, 32-inch barrels.
Right. Yeah. Somebody, I forget who it was, told me recently that if you could get a short barrel that was short enough to get max powder burn, the shortest barrel you could get to get max powder burn is going to give you the best results, because you're going to get, if it's max powder burn, you're going to get consistent powder burn every single time. But the shorter the barrel is, the less likely it's going to have that vibration in it. Because what is it? It's the speed of sound travels in steel. It's like 6 times faster than in air or something like that. So it's insane. I forget what exactly it is, but it's way faster than the speed it travels in air, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, Wyatt, next year when I draw out in Manti, you're coming with me to make sure I get my dream bull elk. Okay. Yeah, barrel lengths doesn't matter, and longer barrels get higher velocity.
What about for stabilization?
The twist rate? What do you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, let me ask you this. How much twist does the bullet need to go through in the barrel before you think it's truly stabilized? If it's let's say a 1 in 10-inch barrel, does it need to be at least a minimum 10 inches to get one rotation, or you think it should be a minimum of 20 to get 2 rotations to stabilize? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it depends on the bullet. Okay. I think the industry goes onto the safe side with a fast twist, but you don't need that really fast twist for every single bullet.
No?
You definitely do for the heavy monolithic bullets,
Okay, because they're longer.
because they're a longer bullet.
Is that why like 22 long rifle realistically, like most barrels are going to be a 1 and 16-inch twist, and then like I have a 1 and 16-inch twist on my CZ 457 Pro Varmint with a 16.5-inch barrel, and it stabilizes it just fine because it's just a short little piece of lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also the diameter of the bullet really plays a big effect. Okay.
Okay. Interesting. Explain.
In 338, you can get away with a 1 in 10 twist with every single bullet. You don't need a 1 in 9 or 1 in 8 to shoot like a 300 grain burger. It
Really?
stabilizes in a 1 in 10.
So
Yep.
the wider the diameter of the bullet, the less spin you need to stabilize. Is that what I'm hearing?
I guess so.
Huh. Interesting. I guess that kind of makes sense. It's kind of like with mechanics. If you have a material that you're putting a screw into and it's the same material as the screw, technically, if it's a perfect fit, you only need to go in the depth of the width of the screw to get max stability.
Vance makes a very good comment. He's able to stabilize the 245 grain burger bullet in his 300 rum 1 in 10 twist. But when he tried the 212 grain Barnes LRX, they tumbled and had bad keyholes.
Wow, interesting. Is that because the 245 EOL is a shorter lead filled round versus the 212 LRX, which is solid copper, long?
Probably. No, I don't think you can over twist a bullet. As long as it's it's a well constructed bullet, I don't think it's going to fall apart if it's spinning
What
too fast.
what happens though? Like let's look at like a 300 blackout, right? You can get a 300 blackout that's got like a 1 in 6 twist, like really fast, right? But that's meant for like the super short barrel stuff that you're going to put like a
Subsonic.
suppressor on, go subsonic. What happens then if all of a sudden I'm going from like a 300 grain, or 200 plus grain subsonic 300 blackout round? All of a sudden I'm like, let me put a 100 round, 30 cal bullet into this, and I'm shooting it like way faster than supersonic. What's going to happen with that fast of a twist rate and something trying to move that quickly through there?
It's a good question. There's people that have different opinions on it.
Will it just wear out the grooves, the rifling faster?
I don't know. James, I can tell you the 1 in 9.5 twist 7 WSM stabilizes the 195 EOL. I don't think you'll be able to stabilize the 160 grain CX though.
Dang.
Okay. 300 rum shooting at almost 4,000 feet per second. Okay. That might explain why the 7 PRC is so slow. I'm just kidding. Okay, Vance picked the 6.5 PRC over 7 PRC because he's got a 300 rum. Yeah, that's a good pick.
What's your ideal pronghorn, like open plains pronghorn cartridge?
257 Weatherby.
Okay.
It just shoots extremely flat. It doesn't take much to kill a pronghorn either.
Right. What are your thoughts on hunters that say you should only shoot at the head to like brain it? That it saves the meat and it instantly drops it.
I guess if you're that good of a shot, sure. And there's nothing dangerous behind it. But I mean, you could say that if you're trying to take a body shot, right?
Right.
I mean, just seems like more likelihood you miss.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I mean, I've only run into a couple of them, headshots only, baby type people, um, that are all about like saving as much meat as possible and not getting contamination from either entrails or, uh, or insides and guts, and also lead poisoning. I don't know. I mean, I guess if I was going to attempt something like that, it would probably be like East Coast or Alaskan deer hunting, where my shot isn't going to be further than 100 yards. Because if I've got my rifle and I'm shooting sub half MOA groups, I don't have it, and it's not a rush shot. I don't think I have an issue taking 100-yard shot at the head.
But I won't do it, but I don't see it like an ethical dilemma about doing it.
Yeah.
You miss, you miss.
Right. Right. Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, I guess there's a possibility of wounding it, but probably a less likely possibility of not ruining it, but
Yeah.
wounding it.
Yeah. I think if you hit pretty much, because there's going to be so much cartilage and bone and teeth, even if you get kind of a messed up shot and you go a little low towards like the sinus cavity, it's still going to kill the animal. I think it's going to be, it's gruesome. It's going to be gruesome. I mean,
Kind of ruins if you're wanting to mount.
oh yeah, you're definitely not going to be mounting that.
Here's a good explanation from Castle Bravo.
Okay. Bullet stability relies upon the RPM of the bullet relative to its length and weight. The 6-inch 300 blackout needs a faster twist rate, its slower velocity to stabilize the heavier, longer bullets found in subs. Okay.
You've killed pronghorn with a 300 rum. There's no such thing as overkill.
Right.
I mean, someone did recommend a 340 Weatherby for pronghorn.
Did you do that?
Would I?
Yeah, did you?
I've never killed pronghorn.
No.
Quarter-minute Magnum says bullet weight at the same velocity, double energy. Oh, 2 times the bullet weight at the same velocity doubles the energy. Double the velocity is 4 times the energy. I'd have to check that math out, but I remember hearing him say that.
All right, so I try to do headshots on does, is what he said.
75 yards.
Yeah.
Accuracy, the 7 PRC is a good one. I know I like to troll all the PRC fans, but it's a good cartridge.
Do you think it's smarter to get a do-all cartridge rifle and spend more money? Do you think it would be smarter to spend more money on one rifle that can do all big game, or smarter to buy several different calibers of cheaper rifles that are okay, that are more niche for certain size animals, like a pronghorn or a whitetail, or let's say a mule deer or an elk, or like a bear and a moose?
So what are you, in this scenario, are we spending the exact same amount of money? So one extremely nice gun,
one
versus
extremely
some cheap rifles.
nice gun with S tier glass, or you're
a very
buying,
budget-friendly rifle with budget glass.
yep, but you're getting more specialized calibers.
I don't know. I mean, I started out with just the one gun, do it all, 300 Weatherby.
Yeah.
And then
that's some super heavy metal Lord of the Rings stuff right there. One ring to rule them all.
And as accuracy said, he tried to do that in a 7 rem mag, but it only lasted about a year before he bought another gun. It's hard. I mean, I'm buying guns also for content.
Fair.
So if let's ask this, right? Let's say, you know, somebody is fresh getting into hunting, and they're like, "Hey, I just inherited some money. My grandfather passed away. I've been watching your channel. Should I buy a rifle that can kill everything? That's like a jack of all trades." Or should I spend my inheritance money on maybe getting several rifles that are king of one trade, but it's going to be divvied up? What would your advice be to that person?
I'd probably go get a couple guns because it's just fun.
Okay.
It gets to be fun.
Okay. If there was the one caliber to rule them all, are you still on the 300 Weatherby train?
My personal pick?
Yeah.
I'm starting to lean towards a 338 cartridge.
Oh, really?
Yes, I understand it's completely overkill for like prairie dog if we're talking about all things.
No, we're talking harvestable meat animals.
Okay.
Is what we're talking about.
So basically you're saying like pronghorn and up.
Pronghorn and up, or Sitka deer and up, because that's even smaller.
I was gonna say I would feel a little better about taking a brown bear with a 340 Weatherby over a 300.
Yeah.
Is there really going to be a huge difference?
Right.
I've heard from the 338 fans there is a remarkable difference when you step up to the 338 caliber. It just hits better and knocks them down harder.
Yeah, I mean, that could be said for people that are shooting in the 6.5, and people are like, dude, you got to step up to the 7s. And then the people that are in the 7s, you have people in the 30 cal saying, dude, you got to step up to the 30 cal. And then you got the people in the 338, telling the 30 cal people, you got to come up here. It's unbelievable. And by the end of the day, we're going to find an Army, specialist that's running a howitzer. That's like, dude, you got to move up to the 120 millimeter cannon. It's like, I just don't know what you're doing. I watched a video on old YouTube. I remember this. This was like a decade ago, of a guy hunting whitetail with a 50 BMG. Like back in the day when they had like Pink Mist Prairie Dog extravaganza videos. Oh man. Yeah. I still make video content that's like an homage to the Pink Mist videos because I might actually be going out this weekend. Hey, are you coming out this weekend for the big content creator thing at a Dragon Man's?
Me?
Yeah, you.
No.
They're going to have a whole bunch of shooting vendors, and like it's being run by Ava Flannel, who's Dragon Man's daughter. She's like the original gun bunny on YouTube, but she can actually shoot really well, and she's made a crazy living. She's really good friends with Eric from Iraq Vet 8888.
Okay.
Yeah. And Colleen Noir and all those people.
Okay, I think James might have been the person that told me, like, once you go to 338, you don't go back. But he's saying on smaller game, it doesn't really matter.
Well, why not just go to like, what is that, a 416 Shytac or whatever, 409 Shy? What is it?
No, you're right. Like a 416 or a 375 Shytac, 416. You could do like a 416 Barrett.
Yeah.
Do you want any mobility in the gun?
I don't know, man.
But I guess if you got a 416 Barrett, you're just go set up on a canyon and wait for something to walk by.
Yeah.
338 Edge. Ooh, nice.
Do you pronounce it Seiko or Sako?
I now call it Sako. I used to say Seiko.
Yeah, it's a Finnish brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they pronounce it Sako.
The 338 bullets don't expand as fast on small light skin. Okay. I assume they just zip right through it.
Right. 375 Swiss P. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think I'm going to call it Big Timber. Thanks,
All
guys,
right.
for coming on and chatting with us. It was fun. Future content, I am going to be taking a 300 PRC and a 28 Nosler to the range on Saturday. So we'll see how that. My dad got a 300 PRC. So we're going to try that out.
I've got a challenge for you then.
What?
Since you're hand loading for your dad and you're hand loading for me, him and I need to have a 300 piece PRC shoot off between his Fierce and my Seekins.
Well, he's instructed me to do the hand loading and shooting. So it's going to be me versus you.
No, you're hand loading for him. Why can't he shoot it?
He's actually a better shooter than me, but I don't know.
Bounce it off him. Bounce it off him.
He's got a Fierce. It's shot factory ammo around 3/4 inch groups.
It's a 24-inch break, right?
24-inch barrel.
1/4 inch groups, huh?
I doubt it.
Well, that's what you said, right? Or 3/4 inch.
Yeah. 3/4 inch, not 1/4 inch.
Oh, I heard 1/4 inch, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a challenge because I'm only at 0.3.
Oh, it's 3/4 inch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's all right. Okay. I'm interested to see though, because he's having you load up some Wyatt. I'll go toe to toe with your X-Bolt with my Seekins.
That's what I want to see, Wyatt. Wyatt, are you going to come? We got to show off the 6.8 Western.
Well, we need Montana to come out for the 6.8 Western with what he's building.
Wyatt has a 6.8 Western with a 26-inch barrel. Yeah. It shoots
wow.
great, and it's fast. 28 Nosler or 7 Rem Mag. 28 Nosler is awesome, but it's a finicky cartridge. It's hard to load for, but if you can get it accurate, not much that beats it.
If out of the 28s, would you take a 28 Nosler over a 280 or a 228 AI?
Whoo, I don't know. They're completely opposite ends. The 280 AI is very efficient, mild. 28 Nosler is just your.
Let me ask you this. If you're let's go back to that. I know you want to jump off because I'm a bad guest.
Reloading Quest just got here.
That's okay, but I have a question for you about hand loads, right? Okay. If let's go back to the hypothetical guy's grandfather dies. Hey, I just got some money, right? I enjoy your channel. I want to get into doing hand loads with a rifle cartridge that can kill anything from, let's say, elk down to a whitetail or a pronghorn. What's the best cartridge for me to get into that's the easiest to hand load, that's going to have a good variety of bullets, but also be less picky with the chambering and give me the best chance at getting good accuracy from starting as a hand loader?
You don't want a lot of recoil. Or do you care?
I mean, what would be I'm asking you as the hand loader here, what would be your answer to that person?
I actually agree with Reloading Quest.
308 win? Okay.
They're very easy to get to shoot.
Okay.
Not a ton of recoil, and I mean, as long as you're not trying to do long range hunting, it will do anything.
Right. So, and that's probably, and you could get a lot of reman 308 brass for cheap.
So I think that I love the 280 AI, but it's a kind of niche cartridge. There's not a lot of factory ammo for it, and it's expensive. I don't know if you know this. 280 AI is a Nosler cartridge.
But, I did not.
Yeah.
Well, what about if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, dude, I like what you're doing on YouTube. I want to get into hand loading and start a YouTube channel, but I have $5,000 to spend on a rifle, optics, and hand loading supplies and filming supplies to start my YouTube channel." What are you going to tell them to purchase.
Find a different niche to talk about on YouTube. It's not going in the right direction. Gun content on YouTube.
Yeah. I gotcha. That's funny. That's good. That's a good answer.
I don't know. There's so many good options.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not experienced enough with all the like higher end rifles to tell you what works really well. I've seen really good shooting Seekins rifles. I've also seen some pretty meh and awful Seekins shooting rifles. Same goes with Fierce and Christensen, all these semi-custom gun makers.
You know, surprisingly, I would say Christensen and Bagaros at my local shields are the two rifles that I see for sale that are used.
Yeah. I've only heard pretty crappy things about Christensen rifles.
Yeah.
But I haven't shot one, so I don't know. So anyway.
Thanks for having me on, dude.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And we'll see you.